So yesterday, I was at this gay swimming pool lounge called Azure here in Vietnam. And while I was in there, something happened. And I had the craziest realization. Like, I felt like if I took a step into that swimming pool, I'd start walking on that water, bitch. But like, seriously, like everything was clicking for me in that moment. Like, I got my wish. And I didn't even know it. And it was like all in front of me the entire time. Now, in order for you guys to understand, I'm gonna have to tell you the story in like bits and pieces and like give context for like a whole bunch of different things. So it's gonna sound like I'm low-key rambling at like certain points, but I promise you, it's all gonna make sense, okay? You just have to hold on to my titty till the end. So buckle up, buckaroos. We going in deeper than any condom has gone before. So this all began way back on September 28th, 2024. I know this because I met someone very special that day. And that day was during Vietnam Gay Pride. Well, Ho Chi Minh City Gay Pride. So this person that I met, let's call him Oat Milk. Funnily enough, before September 28th, Oat Milk actually reached out to me via Instagram. Like, he saw me on my YouTube channel and then he just reached out to me and he said something along the lines of, oh, I watch your videos. Oh, I think you're really cool. Are you down to like, you know, get a coffee, meet up sometime? And not to be like, that bitch. But I get these messages a lot more often now that I am more of a public figure. And I'm always a little wary when it comes to meeting strangers online, especially like watchers of my channel. Because again, it's that parasocial thing that I'm getting used to, where like they know a lot more about me than I know about them, you know? Like sometimes they don't even have a face and yet they still try and ask me to hang out with them. Like, and like even if they did have a face and like all that stuff, they could be catfishing. And even in the case where they use their genuine photos and that kind of stuff, like I still think about Christina Grimmie, how she approached a fan with open arms and was shot dead for it. Like, ooh. Men can be crazy. So yeah, I was a little apprehensive meeting Oat Milk. But this time, you know, instead of declining to meet him, I said yes. Maybe God decided to sprinkle some extra happy dust in my cereal that morning. Cause yeah, I don't know why I said yes. Actually, that's kind of a lie. I do know the reason why I said yes to meeting Oat Milk. And that reason is I was reading this book called The Surrender Experiment. And the TLDR of that book and the lesson I learned is I should just be more accepting of the opportunities that come my way. Like for example, if a friend wants to hang out or, you know, God forbid, want to go hiking somewhere or something, instead of being like, oh, I don't feel like it. I don't know, I just want to stay home. I want to play my video games. I want to do blah, 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 blah. Like instead of letting my own personal likes and dislikes determine what I do, why not just let life take the wheel? So that's what I did. I said yes to Oat Milk and I set up that date. Now to be clear, and as a disclaimer, I gave a really bad summary of the Surrender Experiment. The book is not about saying yes to everything, okay? You can go ahead and read it for more info. But the point is, I was just trying to allow the room for more opportunities to come my way. So yeah, I decided to set up that appointment to meet Oat Milk that next day and then got ready and then went downtown in order to experience the Vietnam Gay Pride. If you want to know what that was like, you can check it out on my channel right here. But anyways, during the Gay Pride parade event, guess who I ran into? Oat Milk! It's so funny because we literally set up a date to meet that next day in the morning, but then we ended up running into each other anyways during the parade. Don't know about you, but that sounds like destiny. So then we ended up getting some dinner together and then it was a good time. So I actually went over to Oat Milk's house in order to continue our chats. And there is no funny business, by the way, okay? I know some of y'all are probably like, really, Brian? Over on his house already after just meeting him first date. It was purely platonic, okay? And even if it did end in a hookup, there's nothing wrong with that. Let me live my life! So the thing about Oat Milk is that he is just a really friendly guy. If I had to describe him in gay terms, he's like a big bottle of poppers if you placed it right in the middle of DJ station. He just brings in all the gays, okay? He's also extremely hot and fit, and he has the world's thickest ass. Life is so unfair. Like, not even kidding. He can probably like walk into a room and then like soak up most, if not all, of the attention from the gays. But despite having a huge ass, he is not an asshole. Oat Milk is honestly so friendly and so genuine and just such a giving guy. And like since meeting him, he'd like host these like, you know, get-togethers sometimes once a month. And every time I go, someone brings in a new gay and like a new friend is made. And this is honestly how I made most of my friends here in Vietnam. And I'm just so grateful because like these get-togethers are honestly such a wholesome and fun and friendly time. Like there's no petty gay drama. We don't do that shit here. And this is also actually the place where I got to know Ward better. If you've been on my channel, you know who that is. Yes, I don't doubt that like some people within this group have, you know, hooked up with each other and that kind of stuff. And, you know, there is some private beef, but like on the whole, we deal with it as adults, and it's just really nice and refreshing. I'm just really glad I met this group. But anyways, as the months go on, me and Oat Milk became pretty good friends. At least I hope so, because I certainly consider him a pretty good friend. As 2024 ended and progressed into 2025, and now here we are at the tail end of 2025, our circle of friends at this point has expanded by quite a bit. And there's some friends that I met that I want to make note of. Let's call them Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. So Blossom, oh my god, Blossom is such a gem. He is literally just me, but more aloof. But I'm being so for real when I say like he's kind of like my soulmate friend here in Ho Chi Minh City, because he's like into all the same shit that I'm into, like all the niche animes and games and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh my god. And he's always such a fun time to hang out with. Like, he makes me laugh so hard all the time. So Bubbles is a newer friend that I made. I would describe him as a hot air balloon. As in, he is unbelievably hot, at least for me. But he also has a tendency to maybe be a little unaware of certain things. And not gonna lie, I low-key crushed on him quite a bit when I first saw him. And if you've been on this channel before, I think you can guess why. And as for Buttercup, so out of those three, I think Buttercup is the one that I interacted with the least, but I've seen the most of him. Like, Buttercup has come over to Oat Milk's house more often than the others, I feel. So I've definitely seen more of him, but I haven't really interacted with him enough personally. So I don't really know him super well. He is friendly, and he has a bit more of a quieter vibe, and he loves wearing loose clothes. And that's all I know about him. And keep in mind that these friendships have been developed over the course of the past year. Like, I met Blossom in February, I met Buttercup maybe sometime in July, and Bubbles I like recently just met like a few months ago. Anyways, let's go back to July of 2025. Vietnam's second white party just happened, and I had a little bit of a dorky time attending that event. As you can see, I went to that circuit party dressed as a frog. You can check it out if you want. In any case, the day after Vietnam White Party, on a Sunday, Oat Milk messages me to go hang out with him at Azure. And I know this might come as a shock to you, but I actually don't like going to gay clubs and gay bars. Sundays are precious to me, because it is my day to be a complete gamer slob on Sundays. It's a day for me to eat my Indomie, my stack of mozzarella cheese, and to play Baldur's Gate 3, okay? I just want to do all those garbage things in peace. Like, I don't want to spend my special Sunday around men, especially since like during this time frame, this is shortly after my little escapade in Bangkok where I got hella triggered. And the TLDR of that is I really let my own insecurities get the better of me. I met someone who reminded me of old wounds, and it did not help that I was surrounded by all these hot, perfect men. And it was just like a time, you know? It was just a time. So as you can imagine, I was not looking forward to subjecting myself to a similar situation again. Potentially, you know what I mean? But again, since reading the Surrender Experiment, I've been trying to be conscious of being more open to opportunities. Because so often we are so focused on living in like the logical reasoning side of our mind, like living in our own ego, basically. And the lesson that I learned, or the thing that I'm trying to practice more of, is to let go of that side a bit more and to be more present. Because, you know, so often we wish or ask or pray for the universe or for God or whoever or whatever you believe in to like help us, right? Like, for example, we pray and we wish for like, you know, a better financial situation or to give us the perfect partner. But really the only way that the universe or whatever can help us is if we allow it to help us. Like, for example, let's say you ask the big G up there to like give you some assistance in terms of your financials. You're praying for it, you're wishing for it. Then the next day your friend asks you to go to a, I don't know, a knitting workshop or something. And then you're like, oh, knitting? When the hell am I ever gonna use that skill? What a waste of time. I'm not even into knitting or any artsy stuff anyways. Like, whatever, I'm just gonna stay home. But what if it turns out that in that knitting workshop, there is a business owner that you were supposed to befriend and would have been the guy who could have helped you with your financial situation? You see? What if the only thing standing in the way of us getting what we want is us? So all that to say, despite me wanting to become a trash can for my Sunday, I decided to go to Azure. I accepted the invitation. And so I went to Azure, and I was feeling fat as fuck that day too. Like, I didn't fit into my Speedo properly. It was, oh my god, I felt awful. And guess what, you guys? Guess what? Azure was exactly what I was expecting. Like, what I mean is, White Party Vietnam just happened, right? So that meant a lot of the hot gays that were there were now partying it up at Azure. Like, that's a lot of hotties. So it was like Bangkok all over again. Woo! I mean, it wasn't as bad because I was better at dealing with my emotions then, but like still, can you imagine being surrounded or being next to all these Greek gods while feeling like a stack of pancakes? And it doesn't help that Oat Milk, the guy who invited me, like he fits in with these hot gays, okay? Easily. He is one of the gay muscle gods, okay? Like, hello, there I am, imposter syndrome. But you know, despite the insecurity, I did manage to have a good time. Like I mentioned, I spent a good deal of my life feeling insecure and dealing with these emotions anyways. So I developed, you know, strategies on how to manage these feelings. So I was actually totally fine. Mostly. And I say mostly because, you know, of course, I'm still human. There were times when I would like, you know, look out into the pool and then my unconscious would start freaking out. My inner child would start, you know, blasting these thoughts. And I would just see like the groups of hot people interacting with each other. And I would, you know, kind of wish and, you know, kind of tell myself, one day I'll be hot enough. Or at least I would, you know, feel hot enough and confident enough to be amongst those groups. And I remember looking at one big titty guy in particular, and I was like, you know, low-key crushing on him. And every time he would like swim past, I would like try to calculate in my head like the best way to like strike up a conversation, you know? But I never did. And low-key regret. Because, you know, he seemed like a pretty friendly guy. Like, at least in his circle of very hot friends, he just seemed like the friendliest. While still being quite hot himself. And low-key, I was like beating myself up for like not trying to talk to him. But I was also like, you know, still shy and also still dealing with not feeling like I belonged, you know, the imposter syndrome and like just comparing myself constantly. So I spent most of my time just hanging around Oat Milk. Then also Blossom came by later, so I was hanging with him as well. And like, you know, eventually I was comfortable enough to like, you know, just schmooze around, but like still not comfortable enough to talk with the people I found very, very attractive. Anyways, it was kind of a weird day. Nothing particularly special happened. And I left that place feeling like mostly alright. It was just exactly what I was expecting. Mostly a good time, made some new friends, but man, there were definitely times where I would be standing like in that crowd of hot people and I would feel ugly as all hell. And sometimes that regret would kind of like seep in like, oh my god, I could have spent this Sunday eating a tub of Indomie in my man cave playing Overwatch or something, but here I am being ignored instead. That's not to say I expect people to give me attention though, by the way. You know, it's totally fine if people don't want to talk to me. That's okay. It's just an inner feeling of not feeling like I belonged. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay? Anyways, finally, fast forward to yesterday, where unfortunately I was asked to go to Azure again. And this time it was Buttercup and another friend who invited me to come with them. And you know what? I was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever, fuck it, let's go. So I went, and this time it wasn't nearly as crowded as the last time, which I mean, you know, duh. Still, there was a sizable crowd, so I was decently surprised when I arrived. And there was also another reason why I was surprised. Because girl, this is my first time seeing Buttercup shirtless. And good lord, does this boy have some meat! Like I mentioned before, he only wears like baggy clothing, right? So when I saw him in his swimwear, I felt like I got flashbanged, like, oh, damn, those hitties. Yeah, I was a little starstruck, what can I say? And also, I learned that he has a tattoo. Didn't know that before. But anyways, yeah, Bubbles was there as well. And we were all just like huddling around, hanging out as a group. But then we decided to all go into the hot tub together. So it was me, Bubbles, Buttercup, amongst other friends and some other strangers, all squished together in a hot tub. At one point, one of the strangers was saying something like, oh, you know, yeah, this is my first time here. Is it like usually like this? And I was like, oh no, actually, this is actually quite busy. But were you here during White Party Vietnam? During that time, it was like super packed, like really great. Then Bubble was like, what? You were here like after White Party Vietnam? And I was like, yeah, wait, you were here too? Then Buttercup was like, yeah, we were all here, he said, like, you know, gesturing to the other friends. And I was like, what? Oh my god, are you sure? Because if I saw you guys, I would have totally said hi. And he was like, no, we were definitely here. And I was like, Keep in mind, once you get indoctrinated into the Oat Milk circle of friends, it's very easy to start seeing each other more on the regular. So sometimes the timelines get blurred. Because at that point, I thought I was sure that I knew Buttercup before or during the time of White Party Vietnam. Since I definitely knew Oat Milk during that time as well, you know, because he was the one who invited me. So then I asked, like, wait, when did we meet again? And then in my head, I began like doing the math, right? While staring at Buttercup's fat rack and the tattoo he had, and oh my god. Do you remember that guy I was low-key, high-key crushing on during that Sunday after White Party Vietnam? The one who looked the friendliest out of his bunch of hot friends? It was fucking Buttercup. That tattoo? Oh my god, I remembered. How did I not recognize it earlier? It was him the whole time. And when the realization hit me, I like slowly looked towards the other friends and I was like, oh my god, he was there too. And then Bubbles was yapping about something and I was like, oh my God, holy fuck. They were all there. And not just that, but I'm pretty sure they were all the same haughty group that I was wishing to be a part of all those months ago. So I was like, silently processing this. And I was like, okay, you know what? What if I'm misremembering? So later that night, once I said goodbye to everyone and went home, I went back to my OneDrive storage and watched the old videos of me at Azure that very Sunday. And sure enough, Buttercup was there. I didn't catch video footage of the rest of his friends, but I believed them when they said they were there. And I just I couldn't believe it. Like, it probably doesn't seem like that big of a deal to you, but like for me, it was like, oh my God. Because I was just like so shocked that it never occurred to me earlier. After seeing Buttercup and that hot group of friends on that Sunday at Azure and like wishing that I could, get to know them one day and like, maybe be a part of that group or at least feel comfortable existing in a hot group with hot friends or something. Somehow along the way, I managed to befriend Buttercup and also befriend the same people in that hot group that I was wishing to be a part of. And it happened so gradually and so naturally. I just never realized it until I looked back. And I'm just still very shocked that to this day, I didn't recognize him sooner. Because when I first officially met Buttercup, I did not register him as being the same guy that I saw at Azure, like at all. Like the Wi-Fi was down, honey, she was not connecting. And the craziest part about this is this is not something that I was actively trying to manifest. I always thought of manifestation as something like, oh, you gotta know exactly what you want and then affirm and reaffirm that this is specifically what you want and then just let go of it. But the thing is I was not thinking about Buttercup. Yeah, sure, when I first saw him on that Sunday, there was definitely a moment where I wished. In that moment I hoped, I dreamed, I crushed on him. But that was it. It was a fleeting moment, right? I never thought of him again. Just totally, completely forgot about him. Because he's just one guy in a sea of many hot guys. Did not think I would ever see him again. And the crazier thing about this is I actually wrote down the exact day where I officially met Buttercup. And I know it was on this day, or at least I'm 95% sure it was on this day, because that day when I officially met Buttercup was actually during a board game night that Blossom was hosting. And I usually keep track of my activities in my planner. So, I wrote down the day where I went to play board games at Blossom's house. So look at that shit. Literally, within the next day, my desire to meet and get to talk to Buttercup came true. And I didn't even realize it. Again, my memory might be a little wonky, but I'm still 95% sure that I met Buttercup that day during that board game night. And it's so funny because that's literally the next day after I saw him at Azure. How insane is that? I got my wish. I manifested without ever realizing it. And only realizing it 5 months later down the line. I saw this YouTube video once from this girl named Artsy, and she talks about how every manifestation is instant. The manifestation you have might not come to you instantly, but the bridge of incidents, the path for it to form, is created instantly. And oh my God, she was right. Shout out to you, Artsy, okay? If you're somehow watching this, holy shit. Thank you for appearing on my channel. And the thing is, now that I think about it, physically, I didn't change. Or at least not by much, I don't think. You can literally go back on my YouTube channel and see my physique then versus now. And yeah, let's be honest, I'm no muscle god yet. But even without achieving that dream physique of mine, I still managed to get my wish of being friends or being a part of that hot friend group. And it's just the perfect example of what everyone says when it comes to manifestation, right? That manifesting isn't about changing the external so much. That in order to get what you want, it is always an inner change. It's about changing yourself to be the person to get the thing that you want. And somehow I just became the perfect example of that. The change I can see that I can now look back on with proof is definitely an inner change. Because when I think about it, when I went to Azure the other day, I wasn't concerned about looking hot at all. Now that I think about it, it was just another Sunday to me. I didn't feel insecure at all. I wore my Speedo that day as well, flabby fat and all, and did not give a fuck. I was just happy to be spending time with my friends, And I didn't even realize I was not feeling insecure. It just kind of was an everyday thing for me. I wasn't consciously thinking about my body at all. I was subconsciously, it was just spending a day with my friends. And I feel so great actually, because twice on this channel, I've talked about times where I felt like I've regressed, where something happens and I look back on it with cringe, oh my God, what the hell was I doing? I shouldn't have acted this way, because oh my God, come on, I've been through this kind of shit before. Why do I keep letting the past dictate my actions? And then I have to reevaluate how I've been acting and go through all that mental stuff. And now here I am finally having the opposite moment, where I can now look back on something and know that I've actually progressed instead of regressed. Like literally at the very same place where I was feeling insecure, I re-entered that space feeling totally comfortable, surrounded by the people who I manifested and wanted to be with. Like I got my wish. And the only thing that changed was my attitude. Mind blown. Anyways, it's very possible that the friends I mentioned in this video actually see this video. And if you know me personally and you know who I'm talking about in this video, please be respectful and don't mention their names, obviously. But anyways, as for current updates, after this private revelation that I had, nothing really changed with my relationships with my friends. I mean, obviously it was a very private, mind-blowing moment. They couldn't have known that I was thinking about this stuff during that time at Azure. To everyone else, I was just casually hanging out with them. But for me, yeah, it was just a crazy night of revelation. It's definitely something I wrote down in my faith book. So if you guys don't know, I sometimes bookbind as a hobby. And for one of my books, I actually used this book as a way to record magical life happenings. I started it recently, but I have like a few moments where like I logged the times where, you know, life seems to mysteriously work out for you in mysterious ways. And this was definitely one of them. I have a few more examples, but you know, that's for another video, maybe for another time. And like, you know, in time, after logging in all the fun, coincidental, life magical things that have happened, like I really do truly believe that life always does actually have your back. The universe is always working in your advantage if you let it. So take it from me, okay? If you let go, magical things start to happen. And could it all just be like a crazy coincidence? Sure. Maybe. But I just choose to believe that there is some force out there, whether you can call it God or the universe or just blind chance, whatever. I just believe that whatever that's out there, it always has your back, and you just never know how life can take care of you until you let it. We truly don't know what life has in store for us, you know? And like, you know, when I look back at this moment, I've realized that there's probably so many other times and other things where I've like manifested without even thinking about it, you know? I think one more clear-cut example was like, you know, way back then when I was like, maybe still in university, I was like watching Tokyo Bottom, and I probably thought like, oh, it would be such a cool thing to like meet them one day. And like, guess what? I actually met them. There's just so many moments like that I probably don't even know and haven't even thought of that have like manifested for me. And I'm just like so grateful for all of it. And like, yeah, I'm really glad that I'm starting to like actually write down these moments and happenings. Life is just magical. And yeah, that's everything I had to say in this video. Thank you, life, for always taking care of me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my ramblings. Sorry if it was a little bit long. Anyways, it was just like a cool moment of mine that I just wanted to share. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed it. Anyways, that's it for today. So thank you. See you next time.